welcome to Gospel Driven. My name's Jalen. Happy New Year to you. If you're new, we do daily, semi-daily Bible reviews, but we're getting better. At the beginning of this year, I made a goal that I wanted to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year. And with you guys' help and with God's grace, I know we can get that goal. I'm going to be posting more content, more Bible reviews. I just got 2 new Bibles, so be looking out for that. Stick around, and without further ado, let's get into this review. Now, I want to go over a few categories that we're going to put this Bible in that'll kind of help you think about what kind of Bible you're going to be looking for and consider what you need in a study Bible. So here are the categories. So first is purpose. Is this Bible more devotional or is it more academic? So on the devotional side of the spectrum, that'll be more, are you looking for more of a Bible that is more for a life application and trying to apply biblical principles to your life? Or are you looking for something that's more academic, where you're trying to get a Bible that you can get into some deep study with? So that's our first category. Next category is help. Do you want a Bible that spells it out for you? Or do you want something that's a little bit more expository, meaning it leads you more towards discovery? So it doesn't really spell it out for you. It kind of just gives you all the different views or different interpretations and lets you come up with your own interpretation of it. Maybe not come up with your own interpretation, but determine which interpretation most fits the passage and your opinion. That's a better example. Our next category is portability. Do you want a Bible that is big or small? Consider you're going to be using this Bible every day, especially if this is going to be your main Bible. You're going to be using it for your own devotional. You're going to be using it to take it to church events. If your church does evangelism, outreaches, this is going to be the Bible you're going to be carrying around a lot. Are you going to be wanting to carry around a Bible that's really big, or do you want a Bible that's easily and manageable and able to carry around? So that's something to consider. Next is notes. Do you want a Bible that has more topical notes, meaning it doesn't have notes on verse by verse, but more on, if you're reading about a specific topic in scripture, it'll give you the topical notes just for that section? Or do you need more expounder type notes where it gives you the verse by verse notes to kind of help you along the way as you're reading? Consider that as well. And the last category is going to be bias. We all have theological biases. We also have our own way of working through theology, our own lens. Do you want something that is more focused in a theological framework, or do you want something that's more neutral, more general, and doesn't really lead you or nudge you towards a certain direction, but just gives you the text, gives you the views, and lets you find your own way? So those are our categories. Let's go ahead and get right into our review of this NIV Study Bible. Now, the first thing I'm gonna say, this is the full notes edition. Full color edition. So previous editions, I believe, just came in standard black and white. This one is full note, and it's beautiful. And for me personally, as I've been reading this Bible and using it, I need something that's full note. I definitely am scatterbrained, and I really need something that is going to keep me engaged as I'm reading. I love, for example, something I really love is these kind of blue or teal blue kind of color numbers for the chapters. Not only are you getting the different colors from all the books and stuff like that, but also you get Jesus's colors in red as well. Something also to consider that I like personally is the symbols that they show you. So this is something that I found very helpful. So throughout the Bible, you're going to see these 3 symbols. It's a little shovel, a little seedling, and a character symbol. Now, they all have their own meanings. The shovel is going to be representing archaeology. So let's say you read something about a passage that talks about a place, it'll give you the study note will have that shovel symbol. It'll be talking about archaeology. There may be even a picture to refer back to on that passage. The seedling is talking about application. So if you see a seedling by a verse, it's going to be talking about application and applying biblical principles to your life. And the last orange symbol is a character symbol. So if you're reading a passage that talks about a specific character, the note will have that symbol and kind of give you a little bit more deeper insight on, that character that the passage is talking about. So let's go ahead and get into the categories. So as for purpose, this is a devotional Bible for sure. I definitely see this more being more devotional than academic, but it's a good mix. It's not like completely devotional. There are aspects of it being academic, but I would probably say this is probably for your beginner to almost intermediate level Bible reader. Doesn't mean that you can't be an advanced reader and can't get anything out of this. But if I had to put it in kind of a rank or position, I definitely would put it in that beginner, intermediate. It has devotional aspects and kind of a little bit of academic aspects as well. Now, as far as helping you along with the text, again, it kind of has a good mix of exposition and discovery, but also kind of does, like spilling it out. For example, here's a picture of John chapter 3. Now, John chapter 3 is one of the most controversial passages in scriptures. John chapter 3, verse 5. And, people take different interpretations all across the church. Some people think it's talking about baptism, Jesus referring to baptism. Some people say, no, Jesus isn't talking about baptism. He's talking about physical birth. When he refers to being born of water and of the Spirit, he's talking about being, physically born. And then you must have a spiritual birth. Tons of different views. And as you can see in that picture, it kind of gives you all the positions, but doesn't take an affirmative. And you also see this, another place, a good example, I'll put another picture up, is Genesis 1 in the creation account. Again, it kind of gives you the different views. So, if you're younger, if you're older, you're not gonna have an affirmative on your position. It just gives you the position and leads the reader to discover what they believe. And I really like that. Now, that doesn't mean that it doesn't take affirmative stances in any places. It does, for example, in Titus chapter 3, verse 5, talking about the washing of regeneration. A lot of people have interpreted that to be talking about baptism. It completely negates that and says, no, this is not talking about baptism or regeneration. So it does take an affirmative stance in certain places, but not everywhere. So as far as help, I would put it more on the expositive or more discovery side of things. It really, in a lot of places, just leaves the reader to figure it out. But there are places where it just does spell it out as well. So middle of the road, for sure. Now, portability. Now, I use this Bible. I've been using this Bible for personal devotion, as well as taking it to church, taking it to church events. I haven't taken it to like my evangelism that I do with a brother of mine, but I have taken it to like Bible studies, stuff like that. I think this is a good Bible. It's not a decent size. It doesn't it's not huge, but it's not too, it's able to be regulated, if I could put it into words. I definitely wouldn't want this kind of Bible with me if I'm out doing evangelism. I would probably want something more along like this. This is an ESV Student Study Bible. Personal size, more nimble. I can imagine doing evangelism or something like that. You want something that's just like, you can go like this with. Stuff like that. Easy read, very nimble, very, Not to say that you can't do that, what I just did with this Bible, you certainly could. But you see how clunky it can kind of be? You know, I wouldn't want to be preaching the gospel or doing evangelism and have my Bible like this and it looks like it's about to fall out of my hands. But as for personal devotion and for taking it to church, I definitely think, it's okay on portability. It's a little big, so I'm going to put it towards, being on the bigger side of things. Now, if you want, I don't know for sure, but don't take my word on this. They may have a more condensed version of the NIV Study Bible, like for example, the ESV Study Bible. I know they have a condensed version for that Bible, so they may have a condensed version for this one as well. Again, I don't know, but check it out. They may have that, and you may be able to find something where it's just like this, but a little bit smaller and a little bit more portable. So that's portability. Now, bias. I don't think this Bible has a bias. It's a very neutral read. Like I showed you with some passages that are very controversial, it kind of just leaves the reader to discover, gives you the position, doesn't take an affirmative, and just throws you to the wolves, just kind of leaves you to figure it out. You're on your own. I would say it's a very neutral, very, very neutral read. It doesn't really have any biases. It is affirmative in certain passages, but I wouldn't call that a bias. It's very neutral. So that's where I'm gonna put it. The very neutral side. Something that would be more biased to kind of give you an idea is like something along the lines like the Reformation Study Bible. We did a review of that Bible on the channel not too long ago. That is a perfect example of a Bible having a theological bias. This does not have that, in my opinion. As I've been reading this Bible and using it, it does not have any kind of theological bias that I have seen. And as far as that is the NIV Study Bible in a nutshell. This is a beautiful Bible, guys. It's definitely helped me as a person who studies the Word of God, usually in the ESV. I grew up on the KJV and the NIV as well, but I usually go ESV. From reading this Bible, it definitely, if I could sum it into words, this is a Bible that its goal is to help the reader understand the scriptures by all means. Like that is this Bible's goal, or mission. I definitely see it as, like I said before, maybe a beginner, intermediate, but an advanced Bible reader could get something out of this, really. I love how it has the two ribbons that you could use for keeping your place. If you're reading Old Testament, New Testament, has nice blue and gold ribbons. It's a good Bible all around, and I would definitely recommend it to a person at really any level. And that's really all I have to say about it as far as why I like it, why I recommend it, and why it could be the right Bible for you. Now, I want to get into some cons. Not every study Bible is perfect. There are certain things study Bibles have that others don't. And there are certain things that I didn't really appreciate in this Bible. So let's go over. There's only two. So, it's not the end of the world. And I don't think the cons that I have about this Bible make it any less recommendable or any less of a great study Bible, because it definitely is. The first one, so in Philippians 3, in this Bible, it says, furthermore, my brothers and sisters, rejoice in the Lord. Whereas in other Bibles, like the NKJV, KJV, ESV, it'll say, furthermore, my brethren. And then the ESV, it'll say, furthermore, my brothers. I didn't really appreciate them changing the male pronoun to a more, gender inclusive brothers and sisters. I don't think that the goal is to try and, impart some woke ideology at all. I get all for trying to be gender inclusive, but I don't think it was a good move. I think the male pronoun should have been kept. And obviously, this is why we have, pastors who can exposit this text and tell you this text isn't just talking about men. Women should rejoice in the Lord as well, and I just don't see why they felt the need to change the male pronoun to say brothers and sisters. I just don't really like that. Not like a kill-all, it's totally, you should throw away or anything, but it is something to consider. If you are someone who grew up on, like me, in the KJV or NKJV, or maybe the ESV, and you've been used to seeing male pronouns in certain passages, to go from that to see, the male and female, it can be a little bit, it can be a throw-off kind of. And me personally, I don't really appreciate it. Another thing I don't really like, this isn't really a con, it's more of a personal preference. And I kind of understand the, it being the translation it is, why I wouldn't like it as much. I really like the ESV, the NKJV, and the KJV, how poetic they are in the Psalms and Proverbs. That poetic literature and that poetic feel, if you really like that, going from like a KJV or NKJV or ESV and reading the Psalms, and you get this very poetic, very, poetic flow, you're not gonna have that here. It's not to say it's not poetic at all, but because the NIV is, uses very modern English, or, very easy to understand English, it kind of loses that poetic feel in the Psalms. To give you an example of what I mean, I'm going to read Psalm 99, verse 3 through 5 in the NIV first. So Psalm 99, verses 3 through 5. Let them praise your great and awesome name. He is holy. The King is mighty. He loves justice. You have established equity. In Jacob you have done what is just and right. Exalt the Lord our God and worship at his footstool. He is holy. Now listen to that in the NKJV. Psalm 99, 3 through 5. Let them praise your great and awesome name. He is holy. The King's strength also loves justice. You have established equity. You have executed justice and righteousness in Jacob. Exalt the Lord our God and worship at his footstool, for he is holy. So you see, it's not too different, but, for example, it says, in verse 4, in Jacob you have done what is just and right. That's in the NIV, but in KJV, it says, the King's strength also loves justice. You have established equity. You have executed justice and righteousness in Jacob. It just gives a different oomph, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a different feel. It doesn't lose all its poeticity. That's probably not a word, but it's okay. But I definitely prefer the poetic vibe from the NKJV more than NIV. Not necessarily a con, not like a hit to why you shouldn't buy it, just a personal preference. And that's really all that there is in terms of cons. This is a great Bible, guys. This is an absolute great pickup for any level of reader, I would argue. And it's a Bible that you really can get lost in. Any Bible, any study Bible or Bible in general that encourages you, or maybe not encourage, but encourages you to read more. There have been times in my devotional time where I read maybe like one chapter in my, I read a chapter, but I'm like just because of the pictures and the notes and the the topical notes, giving me more understanding. It feeds into the story, and you're like, dang, I kind of want to read another chapter. And there have been times where I go on 5-chapter sprints, and hey, there's never not a good time to read the word of God. But I love a Bible that you can get so lost in that you are encouraged to keep on reading. And this Bible definitely does that for me. So that is my review on the NIV Study Bible. It's a great pickup. You can find it in your local Barnes & Noble or your local Christian bookstore probably. Also online probably will be cheaper as well. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed that, please like this video. Leave in the comments what I got right, what I got wrong, what you would have added. If you have an NIV Study Bible, maybe leave some kind of critique that maybe I didn't get to. And let me know what kind of study Bibles you guys want me to review. Without further ado, I'm out. God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.